This is a Hot Pie Original.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the DNP-CD Sports Podcast. I'm Chad Fisher alongside my co-host, Tony Farmer. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good today, man. We got our first baseball guest on the show,
dude. I'm excited. I've been watching a lot of baseball this year, man.
Hell yeah.
Baseball's a perfect, speed for a new father, man. You know what I'm saying? I got a bunch of stuff to do.
Yeah.
I don't have time to be paying attention the entire time. So you watch baseball, it takes 45 seconds in between pitches and shit, man.
It's perfect.
You flip a burger and shit, make some grilled cheese in that time.
I love it. And we've been so heavy with our guests on football players, specifically from the 49ers. So I'm excited to get a baseball guy.
And it's baseball season right now. And it's an exciting year for baseball as well because it's wide open this year. Most of the times we have a clear cut, 2 or 3 team favorites, This year, I would say, man, there's 10, 12 teams that I could see coming out with it. And it's awesome for the sport to have that much parity because it makes it so much more exciting for a lot of other teams. You're not out of, there's not so many teams that are out of it already. And usually there are, a handful of teams that are just no chance and shit. So I'm excited about that, man.
Hell yeah, man. But first, I guess before we get into that interview, let's do our betting segment brought to you by some of our favorite folks in the world, Oddsshark.
Yeah.
Oddsshark is your source for the latest odds from leading authorities, expert editorial content, the hottest sports news, and detailed matchup picks. Looking for statistics and trends for an upcoming game? Oddsshark has that too. And best of all, folks, it's absolutely free. In-depth expert analysis, odds, and trends to help you make the sharp game day picks. They've got decades of stats in their databases, and their insiders give you takes so hot they sizzle. They're your one-stop shop for all your odds and info on sports and pop culture events.
Yeah, so if you want to get a better understanding of the odds and the math behind the numbers, how the line is set, you want to know why the lines move during the week on the NFL odds list, Oddsshark will give you all the tools you need. They're a proven industry powerhouse. Oddsshark has info from around the globe, giving you the chance to access the best sports odds on the planet. Whether you want to check out tonight's football odds, this week's hockey or basketball trends, or anything in between, head on over to Oddsshark and start thinking like a shark today.
Yeah, man, we love Oddsshark.
Yeah.
And speaking of loving Oddsshark, we want to talk about a little boxing change that's come up recently in the betting world.
Yeah.
And what those odds are on Oddsshark.
And it's crazy because, I'm a big boxing guy. I love boxing and everything. And it's everyone knows Tyson Fury had that fight set up with Anthony Joshua. It's going to be one of the biggest heavyweight fights in decades, probably since Tyson fought or Holyfield or something. And so that was nixed because Tyson Fury signed a deal with Deontay Wilder for a trilogy fight. So they fought to a draw in the first matchup. A lot of people thought that Fury kind of won that matchup because he knocked him down twice. And so it was a draw, and then they fought the second time, and Fury just beat the hell out of him. And it was a clown show in terms of Deontay Wilder did not look like he belonged in the ring. He was out of the fight by the third round. You could just tell that there's no way in hell he was winning this fight, except that guy is an amazing knockout puncher. So you never knew what could happen. You never know. He gets to the Fury, leaves himself open for a split second. The Bronx Bomber could come in there and just knock him out. But that did not happen. He was he was wobbling pretty much the entire fight. And so everyone's thought okay, this is over. No one wants to really see this fight because everyone thinks Fury's going to win big time. But at the same time, the exciting thing about boxing is that you got a puncher's chance, man. That's all you need. And so you can make some money on this. And Oddsshark has a great breakdown. If you go to oddsshark.com, click on boxing, they got a great breakdown of this fight coming up. And they got some odds and everything like that. They give you a little insight into what you're doing.
So what are the odds right now?
Yeah, so right now it's Tyson Fury is minus 290 and Deontay Wilder is plus 230. And so I'd imagine, honestly, that line's going to move even. That's possible that line moves as the fight gets closer to happening. I believe it's July 24th, which is about 6 weeks away now, 6 or 7 weeks away. I think that line's going to move tremendously. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fury at minus 360, 350 even once the fight gets closer.
So you're saying if you like Fury, get in on it now.
Yeah, I would do that now because I think that's just going to go up.
And if you like Wilder, wait, because we think you might get a better number. And we don't know. We're not positive, but that's what it's looking like right now.
Yeah, I would say if you're a Fury guy, go ahead and get on that now because this is only going to get even even worse. You know what I'm saying? So that's who most people are going to be betting on is Fury. You know, the way he outperformed Wilder in the last fight. A lot of people think he's one of the best heavyweights ever, and I don't disagree. I love the guy. I think the dude's hilarious. By the way, I don't know. You're not big into the heavyweight boxing scene, but dude, he is hilarious, man. This guy like sings. He sung Aerosmith after he won. He sung Aerosmith to his wife or his girlfriend or whatever.
Nice.
So he sings like some corny, cheesy ass song every time after he wins. He's goofy as shit. He's hilarious. He's funny as hell.
That's
and
awesome.
the dude used to be like super obese, like fat as shit, like 400 some pounds. Got himself into shape. I'm not sure where he's fighting at now, but it looks way better. And he's just an amazing talent. This guy's quick as shit, has an amazing ability to dodge punches and everything like that. And then he also has the power. The guy's just, he's got a good chin too. But this is still going to be a big fight. I'm going to get it. You're welcome to come over and watch it. I'm going to order this shit. I'm going to get some chicken wings and some beers.
Hell yeah.
Throw down some money on the fight. You know what I'm saying? And yeah.
Where are you throwing your money down?
Man, I'm gonna put some money down on Fury, man, because I just don't. I like the guy so much, but at the same time, who knows? I might hedge. You know what I mean? Throw down a little bit of money on Wilder, see if he gets a knockout punch. You can make him a shit ton of money if you did. That's
my thing. All right, you're more of a boxing guy than me.
Yeah.
Okay, but just from a betting perspective, I gotta like the underdog here because if I'm gonna lay $290 to win 100. Even if it wins, I'm not even going to be that excited. I'm going to be like, oh, it's $100.
Yeah.
But the excitement, if that underdog comes through and you're more than doubling your money right now,
you throw down 100.
That's a good night right there.
230. Yeah, that's and I think it's good. That could go up as well. You know what I'm saying? So I would not be surprised whatsoever. But yeah, that's gonna be a heavily bet on event because you never know with Wilder, man. That guy can knock anybody out. You know, so. You know, you want to get crazy, you might want to do some prop bets on what round that would happen in. It happens in, first 6 or something like that. You can win some serious cash.
We'll have to bring someone on, maybe from Oddsshark or some other place to talk about the prop bets. I'm sure there's going to be tons
it's going to be crazy.
Those.
Yeah, if he sings a song after he wins, all that
what
shit.
What song will he sing?
Yeah. Oh, dude, you can make a shit ton of money on that. I'm going to say Sinead O'Connor, but, who knows? You
know what fascinates me about those prop bets? There's got to be some people who know. Like, it reminds me of like the Super Bowl prop bets where you have like the what color Gatorade is going to get poured on the coach. Some motherfucker out there put the Gatorade in the fucking in the tank.
Yeah.
And so they know for a fact. So it seems easy for that information to leak out there. And, for him to be like, hey, this is what song I'm going to be singing tonight. Someone knows. Someone in his inner circle knows.
I'm going to find out. I'm going to follow him around as much as I can. Yes, that fight's taking place in Vegas, which is going to be awesome.
When is it again?
I believe it's July 24th. Nice. When it's going to be.
So it's quicker than that last fight.
I think the last one's going to be September 8th August 8th or something.
Nice.
Or maybe it was September. I'm not sure, but it's going to be way further down the line. So
nice.
As a boxing fan, you get another fight. He hasn't fought since it's been almost a year, I think, since Fury's fought. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be. I'm gonna watch it. I'm definitely watching it.
Hell yeah,
I watched the last fight and was like super fired up watching that shit by myself. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome,
so party at Chad's crib, man.
I like it, man. Looking forward to it, brother.
Dude.
Looking forward to it.
It's going to be awesome, man.
Hell yeah. Also looking forward to this interview with Andrew Carignan.
Yeah, I am too, man, because I'm a big baseball guy. I love baseball as well. I've been watching it way more, like I said, way more this year than I normally do. And it's going to be interesting because we got some great questions, I think, for him. And it's going to be interesting to get his opinion on some of the hot topics in baseball right now. Baseball is a very polarizing sport for a lot of people because a lot of people are saying it should change, or some people are saying, the traditionalists are saying it's fine the way it is. Don't go screw it up. So it's going to be interesting to get his opinion on some of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, our guest today is a former pitcher for the Oakland Athletics. He was a 5th-round pick of the A's in the 2007 MLB draft after clinching 2 College World Series wins for the North Carolina Tar Heels in the College World Series. In the big leagues, he struck out some of the best names in baseball at that time, including Michael Young, Josh Hamilton, and Torrey Hunter. Please welcome to the DNP-CD Sports Podcast, Andrew Carignan. How you doing, brother? Thanks for coming on the show.
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff we want to get to because we got a lot of questions. It's an interesting time. Tony and I were talking before the show. It's an interesting time for baseball right now. And there's a lot of hot topics, I guess, going on.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to talking to you about your time in the league. Before we get into all that fun stuff, what are you up to these days, man? What are the exciting things going on in your life?
So I am currently living in Wichita, Kansas. I've moved there in December from North Carolina. That's where my wife's family is from. So we're at the stage in our lives where we're having a family and needed to move next to one set of parents just to have some people around. So that's where I'm living, working in tech industry, kind of went back to school after I was done with my career, and have really kind of been in tech. This is my fourth different gig since then. And other than that, just living life and enjoying I work fully remote. So
dude, that's awesome.
It's great after being in a baseball lifestyle where they tell you where to be and how long to be there for your whole life. It's nice to have kind of the autonomy to do what I want now.
Yeah, it's very freeing, I'm sure. And you get to spend the time with family, and you're working remotely at home. So you're there for everything, man.
It really is. It's, I mean, thinking back, it was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago when I was playing, but then and now, just being able to decide what bed I'm sleeping in every night is a big win.
I'm sure. Awesome. And I know that your wife is pregnant. Is that going to be your first child?
First one.
Oh, wow. So I've got an 8-month-old now. It's my first child. And so I can give you a little advice if you'd like, man. The one thing that I wish that someone would have told me, I will tell you, like, the first 6 months, man, you don't sleep for shit. I'm gonna be honest. Like, sleep as much as you can. Sleep in. You know what I mean? Do your thing, because you're gonna miss that shit. I can guarantee you that. And now, like, once you become a dad, you just, like, I can't sleep past like 8:30, man. If that's sleeping into me. But yeah. So my suggestion would be that you both don't get up with the kid initially at the same time. Nice. You take turns. So the first few months, me and my girlfriend, we would get up both, and we would like kind of double team it and everything like that, and we both just be miserable. And then it took us like 3 or 4 months, and we're like, dude, why don't I get up this time, and then I get to sleep through the next round? You know what I mean? And you get some semblance of sleep. It's not great, but it's better than both of you getting up 3 or 4 times throughout the night. It's
like a bullpen rotation.
Yeah, there we go, dude. Yeah, bring in the righty. Yeah,
that's great advice. I appreciate it. I'll definitely talk to the wife. I haven't sprung any nipples. I don't think I'm lactating yet. So I don't know that I'm gonna do much good early.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. That's always a good thing. So I felt bad, so I would have to I'll get him up and change his diapers since you're gonna do all this stuff. You know what I mean? But that's totally true.
That reminds me of the Meet the Fockers or the Meet the Parents.
Yeah.
With I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
Yeah.
Classic.
Sure.
Anyways,
Andrew, I want to talk about your first MLB win came on April 12th, 2012. I want to know, what was that moment like for you, and how much partying did you do afterwards, or was there no party? You just went home and had some cocoa and went to bed, or what have you? Was it wild?
That was a really interesting game because there was kind of a lot of hostility. Johnny Gomes got, if I remember correctly, he had a hit by pitch, walk-off win, because Billy Butler, there was some animosity going back and forth. So I didn't even really have a great outing. I just happened to be out there when kind of the chaos, and I ended up getting in the win column. So for me, I was extremely happy to get the win, but at the same time, it's I would have I think I might have given up a run or something.
Yeah.
For me, I was I would have been a little bit happier if I would have just had a clean inning. But it was kind of overshadowed by the little bit of the drama. But for me in my career, I never really had the opportunity to celebrate anything, because being a kind of traditional up and down guy, 4A guy, if you want to call it that, I was at my locker and just hoping I didn't get a tap on my shoulder. After the game. That was pretty much the existence of me in the league.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Andrew, I've always wanted to ask former Major League pitcher this question, man. Can you talk to me about your philosophy about pitching inside and brushing guys off the plate? You were known for your fastball, man, mid-90s fastball. If you wanted to, you could do a lot of damage with that. Things go wrong. You could end a guy's career pitching inside, the wrong way. So kind of what was your philosophy? How often did you use that during your career? And what are your thoughts on that?
Pitching inside, especially in today's day and age, in my opinion, if you don't, you've got no shot. An inside part of the plate, even in 6 inches inside part of the plate, that's mine. I'm not headhunting anybody. Obviously, if it gets above the letters, there's some serious damage you can do. And I would never want to kind of enter in that kind of mind, frame of mind, I'm kind of going at somebody's head. But if I hit you in the hip, if I hit you in the back, deal with it. It's part of the game.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
One question, follow up to that. One question I've always had, sometimes when pitchers hit a batter and it's clearly, an accident, I've always wondered why. I guess so. I want to know, like, what's the code? So I've always wondered, like, sometimes I feel like if I threw that pitch, I'm like, oh, my bad, dog, my bad. But every time it happens, the pitcher's just like stone faced, just like, yep, shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Stoic.
Yeah. He's just pretty stoic about it.
There's such a mental aspect to every sport, but I think baseball even like more so than others because of how slow and methodical and how many games there are in a season. Like to have that mental edge on like the batter, the hitter versus the pitcher, like it's mano a mano. So to give them any edge whatsoever and show remorse, like you're not doing it.
Okay.
Like I always looked like Bob Feller. Like there was you read quotes by Bob Feller. He genuinely hated like every player he ever played against. Like he didn't speak to offensive players, like even on his own team, because he's like, there's a chance that they'll go to someone else.
Oh, wow.
I'll have to face them, and I'm not giving anything up.
Oh,
yeah. Bob Feller is a big time guy from where I'm a big Cleveland Indians fan. So Bob Feller holds, a lot of lore in that city and stuff. So
no doubt.
if Bob did it, it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I say it.
It almost, what you're saying almost reminds me of poker a little bit, where you don't want to show any emotions. You don't want to give anything away because it can give, your opposition the edge a little bit. That's interesting.
It's funny though, man. Like sometimes, pitchers will just straight up, it'll just get away from them and they're just like,
yeah, I don't think I've ever seen
like,
it's a good call. I don't think I've ever seen one pitcher apologize.
I've always wondered that.
And we get an explanation from Andrew of why.
That's awesome. That's good to know.
Hell yeah.
But so Andrew, your great grandfather Gus, he was an outfielder in the 1930s with the Pirates, Phillies, and Senators. Well, I just want to know, like, what was it like growing up in a obviously, presumably a big baseball family? Did you really have like any other career options, or was your family like, you better be a baseball player or you're not getting invited to the family reunion? You're gonna be ostracized. You're gonna change your name real fast. We're gonna add another N on the end if you don't play baseball. But no, seriously though, what was it like though growing up in that? And was that something that was like instilled in you as a youngster? Like, hey, baseball is kind of our family sport and whatnot.
I mean, I guess it was instilled in me, but I didn't really know any other way. Like my dad, like he played in college and he was always like my coach, like growing up. And my great grandfather, he was actually alive. I think he passed when I was like 10 or 12.
Oh, wow.
So I got to see like what the Dodd Stadium, which is now a Futures League, college wood bat league in Norwich, Connecticut, where I grew up. That was a AA park for the Yankees. They were the Norwich Navigators when I was growing up. And I mean, the front street, like in front of that park, was dedicated Lefty Dugas Way. And he like was throwing some first pitches. So I was young and like at a professional baseball setting, I got like a front row seat to see him and how people like reacted towards him. So it was definitely like kind of, as you mentioned, bred from the very beginning. It's really kind of all I know, but I never did I feel forced. My parents just gave me every opportunity to succeed in what I chose to do, which is ultimately something that they kind of had they had a hand in. Like my wife, she saw some home videos of me when I was like 2 years old recently. And like my dad was like, that wasn't good. Like fix the next one. And she's like laughing, but it's just, it ended up working out.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Cause we hear a lot about, like overbearing parents and stuff like that like, kind of drill this into their kids and stuff. So it's nice that your parents didn't force you to do it, but I'm sure they had to be super proud once you did make it to the major leagues and everything and had a successful career.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the best parts about it. They had the opportunity to travel to see me in Omaha, not only just my parents, but my siblings. I mean, my grandfather, we had extended family and friends there. And then like my debut, my parents and my sister were there. So being able to kind of experience that with them made it all that much more special.
I'm sure.
For sure. Andrew, getting back to your career, cut short because of an injury, Tommy John surgery. I remember I was talking to Kurt Suzuki, your catcher, and he was telling me that the pitches that you were throwing, the game that you got hurt, were some of the best pitches he's ever seen you throw. So you were really, in my opinion, tell me if you disagree, you were really coming into your own right before you got hurt. The injury came at a pretty shitty time, to be frank. Can you talk to us about kind of the emotions that are going through your mind when it first happens, through the rehab process, which I know was grueling, et cetera?
Yeah, when it first happened, I mean, unfortunately, I had kind of injury issues like from my my second full season on, like spring training in 2009. I was after my first like full season. I was in big league camp, like ready to make the team. So I ended up getting hurt, and Andrew Bailey, who was my setup guy the year before, made the team and was the AL Rookie of the Year. So I went from, it was like a real high to kind of 09, 2010, and then 11, like 9, 10, I was really kind of fighting the rehabs, random little stuff. And then I finally make it up and battling. And 11 and 12, I up and down. And I finally, like you said, trying to feel like I'm kind of coming into my own, like kind of getting some confidence, because that's what people like. Being in the major leagues, it is extremely difficult mentally, like I was saying earlier. Like there's just so much time, and everyone is so incredibly talented and good that I had some doubts. I mean, mentally was the biggest adjustment that I was struggling with. So I was like, okay, finally getting some momentum, like really started dialing in, being confident in my capabilities, what I'm able to do out there. And then it was kind of taken away from me. And then, okay, it's a year rehab. I've done this before. I know exactly what I'm doing. And then I actually had I had a shoulder surgery that was 13 months after my Tommy John. And I was expecting to be back in the big leagues 12 months after. And then I ended up having another surgery. And then after my shoulder surgery, I was just never the same. And that was pretty much the beginning of the end.
Yeah. So what was that like? Because you mentioned it there, you weren't able to get back to the big leagues after your surgery. At what point did you have to look? Was there a point when you had to look in the mirror and say like, hey man, this is, I'm not going to be able to continue to play? And how was that, man? I'm sure that had to be tough.
So I had an opportunity in 2013 was the year after I had my Tommy John. I was hoping to get back that year. I was with the A's. So after my second surgery with them, the A's just let me go, understandably so. And then I signed with the Giants, had an opportunity to come in with them. Granted, I was coming off of 2 surgeries in a row. So they kind of took it slow. I was in AA, had a decent time in AA. AAA had an okay year. I wasn't the same guy I had been in the past. But then that off season, I was like, okay, I've gotten a full season under my belt. Now is when I'm going to be now I'm going to be in a good spot. And then I couldn't get a job in affiliated ball. So I ended up going to independent ball, played for the Somerset Patriots. And that's a different beast after being a part of affiliated ball. I appreciated that opportunity, but at the same time, being an independent ball, especially when you have big league time, you are just so aware of how far away you are from being back where you want to be. So I had 1 year with that, and then the last half of that season, the Somerset Patriots, we won the Atlantic League Championship. I think my last 26 outings were scoreless.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, okay, maybe now is when I'll get an opportunity. Went to Venezuela and to a little bit of winter ball sesh. And that was like right at the time before Venezuela really kind of shit hit the fan down there. And I didn't throw well. And then I was like, you know what, I'm done. Like, I just can't do this anymore. I was with my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time. And I was like, I don't want to do the distance thing anymore. Like, I definitely do not want to have another year of independent ball and going down to Venezuela. So that's when I decided. I think I came back from Venezuela. It was like early December, and January 2 or 3, I was enrolled back in classes at UNC. I was like, I just need to take a step forward.
Yeah. Nice. As a follow-up question, so what was that like? So you had been a baseball player your entire life, and then what was it like to have to give that up? And then also, like, how do you compensate for that now? Do you golf? Are you in some beer softball leagues, or how do you get the competitive juices flowing? Because I'm sure that's something as a lifetime player that you definitely miss.
Fantasy football, I know that, man. I saw that on your Twitter.
Yeah, fantasy football and DFS is where I get like my competition. I need to do something more like physically to get my kind of adrenaline and testosterone out. I had 1 year of some like co-ed softball, and I was like, all right, I can do this. But it was a little bit of like a bad news bears situation.
Oh yeah, I'm sure everybody's all drunk and shit. Yeah.
It was co-ed. Yeah. It was like a small team league. So if I didn't hit a home run every time, I would like stand out.
You're like, dude, Something's wrong.
That's my own brand.
Something's wrong. Giving up 3-run homers to Marge, who's like 45 years old and been smoking 10 packs of cigarettes a day and shit. He's like, man, I lost it.
I refused to pitch. I was like, I did this plenty of time.
Yeah.
To go enjoy myself in the infield.
Yeah, right. Hey, Tony, why don't you tell the people about one of our newest sponsors, brother?
Yes, sir. 1740 Beard Balm. This is one of their canisters right here. So if you got a big old beard out there, you want to keep that shit groomed, man. You want to look good.
Yeah.
Another thing I love about this company is they're actually working with us on a promotion through our social media.
Yeah.
If you out there have a funny text, they can be sports related or not. Go ahead and post that to our Twitter, to our Facebook, and to our Instagram. And the funniest one we're going to read on the following week's show. We're going to send you some Beard Balm and a $25 gift card, not to the Beard Balm, to another place that you're going to like. And check that out.
Yeah, if you got a beard, you got to get some of that stuff, man. There's nothing more unattractive than like a big old, like hot, nasty, dried out beard and shit.
Exactly.
With some chicken wing juice in it and shit like that. You're
Exactly.
like, ugh, dude, like get that. Why don't you clean that shit? They got shampoo and shit too, right? Like beard shampoo.
Yeah, they got beard soap. They got
Beard
chapstick.
soap.
They've got other products, but 1740 Beard Balm.
And I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm around town. I'm at places. I'm at shows and stuff like that. Okay, I can tell you about half y'all motherfuckers need to start wearing some damn chapstick. People come up to me, dog, for real. People come up to me with these dry ass cracked lips. Looks like a goddamn concrete jungle and shit. Like it just like looks like fucking like some concrete, like chewed up fucking asphalt and shit like that. Come trying to talk to somebody, you're like, dog, lick your lips, or drink some water, or put on some of this 1740 shit, man, because them things is cracked and nasty as hell. You got dust, like chalk coming off their mouth and shit. You're like, god damn, dude. What do you do to put some chapstick on them?
He said chewed up concrete.
It does, man. This shit is terrible. Like, dude, like, why is your lips ashy? That's weird as fuck. I've never seen somebody with ashy lips. But yeah, I see some motherfuckers with some dry, cracked up lips. You need it. That's nasty. You need to get it taken care of.
For sure, I agree. So 1740 Beard Balm, but go on our social media, send us screenshots. Your favorite team's losing, your buddy sends you a text making fun of a player, making fun of a team. We want to see those, and we want to reward you for your comedy.
Yeah, if you got some Tim Tebow hot takes, hit us up, man. I'm all about that shit. That's probably gonna get you to the front of the line right now. I can tell you that.
Tim Tebow and Mac Jones, those are the two.
Big Mac Jones. You got some Big Mac Jones jokes and shit. We'll probably read those bitches on there. Yeah, and you got some Astros stuff. You want to talk about the Astros? Yeah, go ahead, man. We're
top
open.
Of the line.
But yeah, you want to hit them up, go check out their website. It's not just the beard lotion, man. They got all kinds of different stuff.
For sure. 1740beardbalm.com. Andrew, if you did pitch, man, if I gave you a baseball right now, how hard do you think you could throw it?
Right now, I think I could probably get maybe 85. I'll give
nice,
man. I mean, there's a high, maybe an 85% chance I blow out again too. But I'd be worth it.
I could probably throw 45, man, right now. If you believe me, maybe on a good day.
Yeah, same. Andrew, am I remembering correctly? And maybe I'm not. So correct me if I'm wrong. I think when I talked to you, you had said you knew there was kind of something going on in your arm, maybe like a micro tear or something like that you knew could kind of go at any time. And can you kind of talk about that? I mean, how the hell are you throwing that hard, knowing that your arm could give out at any moment? And how long did you have that concern, that black cloud over you?
So in 2009 in spring training, what I mentioned before is when I initially got hurt. And I had an MRI that year where they were like, oh, you've got a partial tear in your UCL, but you've also got 5 loose bodies. Like you had a bone chip that had broken off, 5 loose bodies. So they kind of took care of that. But I always knew in the back of my head, like, okay, my UCL is compromised. So at that point, I mean, in baseball, especially if you're a hard thrower, I mean, if you're a 95 plus guy, I think everyone kind of knows like you've got a 50-50 shot in your career of having TJ anyways.
Wow.
So I kind of knew that was a possibility. And I had seen so many guys that had partial tears or they had like almost full tears, like, oh, we're gonna rehab this. And then you'd spend 6 months rehabbing. The second you get back into a full place game, you blow out. So it's like, okay, you just wasted 6 months.
Wow.
Like, it's Tommy John. It's a surgery that's kind of commonplace nowadays. Like you can get it done. So many guys have come back. So actually, I think, Tony, what you're referencing is when I did it, I threw a pitch and I was like, it was actually it was in that Michael Young game. Like we were playing the Rangers and I was like, that didn't feel right. But you know what? I'm going to throw another one just to make sure that if it is my UCL, like it's completely gone so that I don't have to deal with like this partial tear thing.
Mm-hmm.
So then I threw like 2 more pitches and then I called Suzuki out because I was like spiking fastballs. And then that was kind of how that went down.
Damn. Wow. I can't imagine the the emotions of, I mean, this isn't a minor injury. You know, I mean, you're talking about your UCL on your throwing arm for a pitcher. So this isn't like a sprained ankle or, you know, something like that. It's just going to recover in, you know, a month or two. The emotions of fucking getting to the top and then having a deal, and you got a job to do to still throw the ball while knowing that that's on your mind, man. That's something that not a lot of people have to think about or go through, man. That's wild.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, so can you talk a little bit about your decision to go back and get your degree after your baseball career was over? Because a lot of people, you know, they say a lot of former athletes are like, they always promise someone that they're going to do that and everything. And a lot of them don't get around to doing it. But you actually went back and did that. And you graduated from North Carolina, which is, you know, that's going to look good, you know, obviously in the rest of your career and your business career and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was definitely, I'll do the old, I promised my mom I would go back. I mean, I did. Then I knew that I needed to do something because with so many years of like dealing with injuries, the minor league lifestyle was just not for me. I could have, like the coaching realm, I could have gone that way, but like we talked about earlier, like that's the same schedule, same lifestyle, not sleeping in your same bed. So I was like, I need to do something else. So going back to school, it was actually like, it was kind of like the low hanging fruit. Like I have no idea what the hell else I would have done. So okay, I'll go back to school, finish up. And then I was actually like, I had probably 3 former teammates of mine who had I'd played with them at UNC. They had gone and had a professional career. And for 2 were other pitchers, guys that got hurt, and another was a position player. We were all back at the same time. So that was actually really nice. I wasn't just the random 30-year-old. It was like a group of us. So it'll do that. And I spent time around the team, like on my own accord. So not really on the field, like working mechanics or anything, but it was more like the mental aspect. So 2 notable guys that were there at the time were Zach Gallen and JB Bukowskis, who are both with the Diamondbacks right now. And being able to kind of talk to those guys and tell them like, hey, this is what to expect. This is what I wish that someone who had gotten drafted and played pro ball would have told me. And really, I kind of harped on them. For me, especially, it was just health. Like Gallen, for instance, I told him, I was like, dude, just go out there and make every start every year. If you have a 5 ERA, that's fine. Just go out there and make every start. Because the way that baseball is and kind of like the progression and getting better, like just make every start, keep getting better. And I mean, granted, to see guys like that succeed was really kind of satisfying and gratifying for me and a couple of my other teammates who were able to be around them.
That's awesome. You get to kind of to be in that mentor role. Who are the guys for you, coaches, players that may have kind of gotten in your ear a little bit as you were kind of coming up the ranks and might have shared some advice with you along the way?
So in college, I mean, like Daniel Bard and Andrew Miller, they were the guys, they were a year ahead of me, and they weren't like the most vocal guys, but just seeing them on a day-to-day basis, seeing how they went about their business. I mean, they were as big of a prospect as you can possibly be. I mean, both first round picks, like seeing them, like the humility and how they treated everyone on the team the same way and kind of put their work in, that really kind of set the course for my career. And then in pro ball, I mean, had guys like when I got called up, like Brian Fuentes, he was up there, Grant Balfour, like they were kind of Balfour. I remember sitting next to him, and that was like with the massive booklet of the book on the other team. Like, this is how he's going about looking at guys' tendencies and how he's attacking them. And he was very gracious, and I would just sit next to him, and like, instead of him just going through it, he would say everything out loud. This is what I'm looking for. So guys like that. And then like Doolittle, like, I mean, he was one of my peer kind of coming up, but just seeing him and just kind of being able to talk with him about things. Like, we were both always hurt. We kind of knew each other from before college and then college. So kind of having that camaraderie with him was always beneficial to me too. And it's really been nice to see him succeed since I've left the game. Because he actually, the day that I blew out my elbow, he made his debut.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. You mentioned that book that Balfour had. I find this fascinating. Was this the team provided it, or did he have kind of his own personal like notebook on other guys, or what?
No, this was team provided. It was like the I think I want to say StatCast or StatTrack or whatever. It's like they got the 9. It's like the red and blue 9x9. Like it starts with that, like hot cold with the pitcher or the hitter on righty, hard throwing righties, hard throwing lefties, soft throwing righties, soft throwing lefties. That's how it was broken out at that point. But I think now that since like the analytics revolution has really taken over, that what I was looking at was like child's play compared to what guys have now, the information that is at their fingertips.
And maybe this is a silly question. Are you looking at tape too? Like, are you looking at footage of guys at bats that you might be going up against, or is it really just sort of that paper copy that you're using to prepare from?
It's completely up to you. The amount of information that is available to you can be paralyzing. Like I would go and look at tape of some guys. Specifically for me, the things that I cared about as a reliever was if guys were going to swing first pitch and what their tendencies were or what their holds were with 2 strikes. Those were the 2 things that I kind of harped on because that's what mattered. Like for starting pitchers, they're going to kind of concentrate on some different kind of aspects, but those are the 2 tendencies that I really kind of harped on.
So you might have a bullpen with 9 or 10 guys, and you might have 9 or 10 different ways that guys go about kind of preparing for the next series coming up. If I'm hearing correctly.
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. You got some guys who they've watched every at bat. Everyone that like you have a lefty reliever, they've watched every at bat that the lefties in the other lineup might have had for the last 2 months. You've got some guys who want nothing to do with any information, or like they're the guys that if they're thinking up on the mound that they're screwed. So it's like, it really is, like you said, Tony, it's every single person kind of deals with all that information in their own way. And it's a battle to try to figure out what the best way for you to do it is. Because I mean, if you're out there pitching and if you're actively thinking, that's usually not a good sign. You need to kind of be out there, and it just needs to be second nature at that point.
Is there a difference between, you mentioned all these resources that you have available to you and it's overwhelming and paralyzing. Is there a difference between the resources at the AA level, the AAA level, and the major leagues? And can you talk about that a little bit?
So at that time, my last year, those resources that I'm really talking about are 2011 and 2012. So it's like a decade ago. And at that point, the resources in AAA and towards the big leagues was night and day. I can't really speak to what it is now, but yeah, it was night and day at that point. With all of the TrackMan and how everything has gotten so advanced in that sense now, I think that the information is a lot more plentiful at AAA, but I don't know for sure.
Gotcha.
I want to ask you, so a hot topic right now, and a person we've talked about on the show quite a bit, he's kind of in the news again, and we have our own opinions on him. My opinion is probably much stronger than most people's, but we want to get your take on Tim Tebow playing baseball. And do you think it was a publicity stunt? Did you think he sullied the game at all? And do you think anyone else that's never played, that hasn't played since high school, would have gotten the same opportunity to play like him?
I just love that as soon as you said Tim Tebow playing baseball, Andrew couldn't help but chuckle under his breath. I thought that was telling. I like that.
Yeah, dude. I can't stand it, dude. So go ahead and let loose. I don't give a shit. I hate this motherfucker. He is so annoying to me, man.
When you look up like joke in the dictionary, Tim Tebow playing professional baseball should be right there. Like, I think it's just as much of a joke that he got an opportunity to do that as it is a joke that he's getting an opportunity to play tight end in the NFL after not doing it in 9 years.
Yeah.
Like, I listened to your last podcast and I couldn't agree with what you were saying, Chad, anymore. Like, it's just so frustrating as a sports fan to see this guy just get every opportunity you could possibly imagine. And the more frustrating thing is that everyone bows down and can't wait to line up and buy his jersey for a guy who's never going to see the field.
So they're definitely just doing it it's like wig night or something like that in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just it's that once everyone in that town had seen him like play and the novelty wore off, they cut his ass. You know what I'm saying? They're like, okay, your career's over. You know what I mean? He's like, okay, I guess I'll go back to football now because my college coach got a job and he owes me a favor because I helped, distract from the murderer we had on our football team for 2 or 3 years, you know.
Is it almost offensive, Andrew, because you know how hard you work and how hard the other guys work to get there, right? What do they say? Like 1% of baseball players, if that, make it to minor leagues, major leagues, et cetera. And then for someone else, it's so easy, not necessarily because of earning it, but for other reasons. I mean, is it almost offensive in a way, knowing how much work you put into it?
I actually took offense before the whole Tebow experiment ever happened to Russell Wilson being invited to Rangers spring training multiple times. Every time Kaepernick was up, was playing, all they would talk about was, oh, this guy used to play baseball. He could play baseball too. It's like, I kind of feel like it was a little bit offensive. Like they were like dialing back, like they were kind of dumbing down the competition. Like, oh, anybody could do this if they weren't playing football. Like that was the original thing that kind of pissed me off. Like handing Russell Wilson at bats when you've got a young kid who's been busting his ass his whole life trying to get that opportunity. I mean, and then you get that was just taking at bats away in spring training. Then you get someone that's taking a job away like all season long. Like I think it's just a freaking joke. And I think the Mets are like they're like dumbing down the level of play, but also like what it means to be a professional baseball player.
I think it's a struggling franchise for a reason, and it has been for the last 20 years.
What are you talking about? Jaguars?
Well, both. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying the Mets and the Jaguars, but you see that they got Francisco Lindor, and that hasn't really worked out so far. I mean, I think he's batting below 200 right now. And it's been a joke of a franchise for a long time. You know, I think that they had a couple glory years, in the early 2000s, but late 1999 around there. But yeah, it's a franchise that is an also ran. No one really gives a shit about them. And that's why they're doing like little silly gimmicky shit like that to get Tebow out there. And like I said, once the novelty wore off and they were no longer selling tickets, they cut his ass. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to do the same thing. They're going to hold him to the last possible second so they can sell all the damn jerseys.
Everybody will be talking about it. We know Final Cut Day. Everybody will be talking about it for sure. And Andrew, how closely do you follow the game today? How closely do you watch baseball?
Not very closely. I still follow like the guys that I know. A lot of them are now even in like coaching roles. But I mean, for a lot of reasons, I've got some things to wrestle with myself. Like I have a bitterness towards the game. I think a lot of it is because I feel like it was taken away from me. Wow. Like I feel like it, like with really, like you were saying earlier, like coming into my own and then having it taken away from me at that point. Like it really just, I think I got my own demons to deal with, but it just didn't sit well. Like I just put everything I had and everything I could into the game for 3 decades. And then it was just like, okay, well, see you later. Thanks for coming. And it's tough to reckon with. I mean, especially now with the way that the state of baseball is right now, they're not making it any easier for anyone to be a fan anymore. So it's the combination of my experience and then what's going on now. Yeah, I'm not much of a fan currently.
So I want to know if your children want to play baseball and everything like that. Do you think that will maybe be like the bridge to maybe getting you back into the game a little bit more? Because your kid's gonna be like, hey, they're gonna hear the stories that dad was a professional baseball player. Do you think that that's probably gonna be when you kind of get to that point where you're like, okay,
T-ball, baby.
I can get back into it now, and it's not gonna hurt as much. It's not gonna sting as much when you think about the game.
Absolutely. And it'll be about them at that point and not about me. So it'll be like a nice, like changing of the guard. I'll be able to use all of because I have so much knowledge and so much experience and relationships that part of me is like, it eats at me that I'm not doing anything with that. But at the same time, I think that kind of taking that next step with my own kid. And then, I have a bunch of friends that are doing that now. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can definitely see myself like really enjoying it once that kind of comes to be.
This could be like an awesome movie pitch. We could just do like an awesome comedy movie pitch where you just start out as like the T-ball, like the pitching instructor or something like that on the T-ball team. The throwing instructor or something like that. Then you just start slowly getting your way into it. And then you just like develop like a big time powerhouse in high school baseball in Kansas, man. Just take over the damn state.
I like it. I like it.
I'll be back in the Northeast by the time that happens.
Okay, yeah. Get a ragtag group of kids, you know what I mean? And just start running roughshod all over the Northeast.
Andrew, you mentioned your relationships. Who do you still keep in touch with from your playing days? You mentioned following guys and seeing how they're doing. Is there anybody that you sort of talk to regularly still from the team?
So Doolittle I talked to him a decent bit. I mean, and then like Mickey Story, who's one of my teammates. He was my roommate in Cape Cod League back in 2005. Then we were together with the A's, and then again with my last year with the Somerset Patriots, and he was with me in Venezuela. So I just saw him the other day. We had lunch with him and his kids, but he's the manager of the AAA Astros team in Sugarland right now.
Okay.
So I speak to him a good bit. And then one of my best friends from home, who Tony knows, Eric Campbell, he actually just was with the Mariners, up with the Mariners in the big leagues for the last week. That was the first time that he had been in the big league since 2016 with the Mets. So currently those three are probably the three that I'm kind of closest to. But I mean, then the younger guys, like the UNC guys, it's cool to see the next generation of those guys come around too.
Andrew Miller was one of my favorite players for a couple of years there. I was a big Indians fan, and he was just an animal, dude. Like anytime he came in, you were just like, oh shit, you go ahead and put a 0 up on the board because ain't no one touching this guy's stuff. I mean, he was unhittable for several years, man. Like just unhittable.
Yeah.
Nasty as shit. And the was that 2016, 2017? I can't remember when the Indians went to the World Series, and he came in. He was they overpitched him. And I think that kind of caught up with them, unfortunately, in Game 7, the back end of that series there. But he was unhittable during those playoffs, man.
Yeah,
awesome to watch,
no doubt. Andrew, I wanted to ask you.
I mean, him and
go ahead.
No, I was going to say him and Tito Francona, like they were kind of revolutionizing how the bullpen and how guys were used at that point.
Totally agree. Yeah, Tito has been a godsend because the Indians with that payroll. It's just nice to be competitive. It's nice to for me to be able to still be watching games and for us to be even somewhat in the conversation of, even a wild card and everything like that. I think that's like tremendous job on Tito's part because we have like one of the lowest payrolls in Major League, and for him to be able to do that with that roster is amazing. Yeah. But yeah, he did. He totally revolutionized the way the bullpens were used in, and you see it's kind of evolved since then. But it started, changed big time during that playoff run we had. So
yeah, and as a Red Sox fan growing up, they miss him.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm sure they do. Hell yeah,
no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Andrew, I had a question I want to ask you, man. Heckling in baseball. I know that as a pitcher, you're a little bit further away from the fans, right? One of my favorite heckles of all time, and you can find it on YouTube. Grady Sizemore was at the plate, and the dude nailed the timing perfectly, and he said, "Hey Grady, my sister's pregnant, pay up," or something like that. Yeah. I'm curious, during your time, some of those minor league parks are probably a little quieter too, I would imagine.
More intimate.
Have you heard any particularly good heckles that are memorable? And do you hear that stuff when you're on the mound or even at the plate? You might have been hitting in the minors too.
The heckling that I remember was always just in the bullpen. Like we sat out there.
Oh, that's right.
We would joke that being in the bullpen was like being an animal at the zoo. Like people sometimes they're above you and you could hear them hey, look at that one. He's moving around a little bit. He's getting up. And then they're asking for balls, and it's like an evolution as the game goes on. I mean, the back and forth, especially in the minor leagues and the bullpen, was pretty funny. But in the big leagues, that's when big league bullpens, that's when you're warming up and they have your information and they're telling you how much you suck and why you suck and how bad you're going to suck when you go out there on the mound. On the mound, it's usually there's so much going on you can't really hear it unless it's I don't know, last year, I don't know, with limited fans. If there is someone that really wants to heckle, you got a better chance to actually hear what they have to say. But as far as, especially in the big leagues, I didn't hear anything on the mound, but in the minor leagues, people love to drink and pass their time by interacting with the bullpen.
So if someone gets you with a good zinger, right, and you hear it, is it kind of like you were talking about on the mound where you can't show any emotion, where you just got to take it and pretend like you didn't hear it? Or do you ever kind of tip your cap that was a good one, man?
Yeah. I would always interact and tip my cap because they're like, oh, yeah, because then it kind of de-escalates and it's like, oh, this guy, he thinks I'm funny.
Yeah,
I can't really like
That's
there you go.
true.
You give them what they wanted. They want a reaction. Like they said to the bully in school. They want a reaction. You give them a reaction. They lay off you a little bit.
That's so funny that in the big leagues, like they've got professional hecklers and stuff. Guys that like do their research. They're like, okay, let's see. He played AA ball for 4 years. Wow, that's a long time. He should have made it to AAA by then. You know what I'm saying? Like that's hilarious. It's like step their game up a little bit.
Oh yeah, family members and everything. Yeah, they're coming with an arsenal of information.
Yeah, most of the AA people, they're just going for like the $1 hot dogs and $2 beers and shit. You know what I'm saying? Major League, they're like, I paid $40 for this ticket. I'm gonna get some good. I
want to make someone hurt.
Yeah, I want to hurt somebody's feelings.
Cause some emotional pain in someone tonight.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Not only do they pay money for that ticket, but they made sure that they chose the seat.
That's so true. That's so true.
They're going.
Yeah, that's hilarious, man. That's so funny. So, there's a couple more questions here before we let you go, but I want to ask you because a lot of people, a hot topic right now also is about baseball and the changes that some people think that needs to be made in the game. You know, some of them, I know they're saying some of this is just COVID related and everything, but the 7-inning double headers, putting a runner on second base to start extra innings. A lot of people have been calling for even more drastic changing, like a pitch clock and everything like that. I want to see what your opinion is on some of those topics. And do you think the game needs to change, or is it fine the way it is?
I couldn't hate any of those changes anymore that I do. I think that Rob Manfred, not one positive thing has come to the game since that guy's been in charge.
Oh, wow.
And when you say like some people, I always wonder, like, who are those people? Like, who are the people that, oh, the game is going way too slow? Like, oh, you think the game's going too slow? It's because the game has completely changed. Like, as far as the shifts, and like you see all these no hitters and strikeouts, there's no 2-strike approach. No one wants to go the other way. Like the game is changing in those ways for a lot of other reasons that has happened for like the last 15 years. And now it's like, oh, knee-jerk. You needed all these changes that they're making. It, to me, make no sense whatsoever.
So you're saying it's more like strategy based instead of like this is just a product of the game, because like you said, every year they're setting records and strikeouts and everything like that. And it seems like it's either a strikeout or a home run. The art of the single, the art of
bunting. Nobody can bunt anymore, dude.
Going opposite field, just slapping one over the infield. That's kind of gone in the game. And I feel like it's gonna have to come back at some point. There's gonna be some team that does that and does it extremely well, and then it comes back into the game. At least I hope so, because I miss shit like that. I miss like the little slap singles, little bloopers, this type of stuff. It seems like everyone's coming up there and just like, all right, well, if I don't strike out, I'm hitting a home run. I don't give a shit. But they're batting 214 or something, And that does get a little frustrating.
I wish that I would have played in today's day and age.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I would have done a hell of a lot better if everyone was trying to hit a bomb off me at AB. I was a hard-throwing righty with accepting fastball. So, like, if guys were trying to hit a bomb off me, I was going to be in a good place. But if someone was trying to fight and go the other way and, like, slap it over the first baseman's head if you're a righty and then steal second, like, those are the guys that I hated. And they gave me fits. And, like, those are the guys that are disappearing from the game.
Yeah. They're also seeing like a big change in catchers too. The catchers aren't able to throw as well anymore. I saw a stat the other day when I was watching a game that like the steal percentage is like through the roof this year and last year. I mean, that could be a couple different reasons, but there's a lot of things about the game that I agree with. I would say right now, as I told Tony this, I get the MLB package, and baseball is just. I will say that there was probably a time in my life when I thought I was a little slow. But right now, it's the perfect speed for me, man. I'm a dad, I'm like hanging out with my son, or I've got stuff to do I got work to do, preparing for the podcast and everything like that. And so it's a perfect speed for me because I could be on here writing up questions for this interview while I'm watching a game. You know what I mean? I'm not missing anything. And I actually, dude, the other day I posted this on our Twitter. I said, you're a dad when you're watching May baseball instead of playoff basketball. And I'm just a huge sports fan. I used to cover the NBA, but I love the MLB, man. It's especially when your team's doing okay. I'm an Indians fan. We're always, kind of in the second or third tier and of the American League and everything like that. As long as it's interesting, and at least I got a team to root for, man, I'm happy about it. And I've enjoyed watching other teams this year as well.
And it's slow, but it's not too slow. I mean, if anybody says baseball is too slow, like put them in front of the TV during a playoff baseball game. Is there anything better than playoff baseball,
guy,
man?
I forget Miley. I think his last name was Miley. Wade Miley, I believe. That threw the no-hitter against the Indians. That guy worked fast as hell. And as a fan of baseball, I was thinking to myself, like, dude, slow down. None of our hitters felt comfortable. I could see him about the 5th or 6th inning. I told my girl, I said, I'll be surprised if they get a hit or two off this guy because he's just got them on their heels. And so when you get a guy like that throws fast, the batters are not used to it like whatsoever. You know, you can use it to your advantage or disadvantage. You know, you also want to be a little bit more tactful and understanding, like, you know, what you make sure you're not making a mistake because people are hitting so many home runs now, especially.
The pitch clock in baseball, Andrew, I'm curious specifically on that one. I mean, you talk about being on the mound. You've already got all these things on your mind. You're trying to stay focused. And you got a little clock counting down too that you got to keep an eye on. What would that be like from a pitcher's perspective?
So they had kind of started instituting that. I think when I was in Somerset and Indy Ball, because the Atlantic League, they had like a loose affiliation with MLB that they're just like the guinea pigs. They'll agree to do any of these rules and install them to see how it'll work in order for to have any affiliation with MLB. But for me, like along what you were saying about Wade Miley, like the faster you go, the faster you work, the more uncomfortable the hitter is. So I was always, give me the ball, I'm getting back on. Yeah. So the clock never bothered me. Like there are guys that do work a little bit slower, but I mean, I don't know. There's definitely guys that work slower, but I still don't think that the clock does any good.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, sometimes this is the batters. You know what I mean? If they're talking about pitching, it's like, dude, sometimes the batters, they got to come out and put their damn, they got to readjust their batting gloves every time. And it's like, dude, you didn't swing the last at bat. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why you're doing that. It's so silly. You gotta come out and do a couple practice swings. I'm like, all you did was look at a pitch, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do all that.
For sure.
But last question here, Andrew. I want to ask you, I know you said you don't follow it. You're not really plugged in right now. But who would you say are some of the favorites you think in MLB this year? It seems like it's more wide open than it's ever been, and that's great for fans and people watching the game because a lot of teams are still involved. And like I said, there's no clear cut number 1 or 2 this year. You know, I think the Dodgers have had some injuries. There's probably 10 or so teams that I could see winning it this year. But I want to get your opinion on that.
And do you have a rooting interest? Being from Connecticut.
Not really. I mean, I was a Boston sports fan, like a big Patriots fan, but baseball wise, like I don't like since I'm playing, like my Red Sox affiliation kind of like dwindled. And it was more just I like organizations that I see that operate well. I think that operate well, and I follow players more. But I mean, from the Dodgers, if the Dodgers are healthy, that pitching staff and the lineup is just it's really going to be tough to beat, especially because they kind of got that monkey off their back too. They don't have to worry about being the first one. So I think that they're definitely, if everybody's healthy, that they're definitely the toughest team to beat.
Yeah, and there's no trash cans anymore. The Astros.
Oh shit, we gotta ask Andrew about that.
Yeah, let's ask. We got to. Yeah, just get his opinion. We gotta
ask Andrew about that. I got a couple questions about this, Andrew. One, just what are your thoughts on that whole scandal? You know, altogether, being a former pitcher, and two, Chad and I were talking about this on the last show, and of course we're speculating here. Nobody knows for sure. But do you think everybody on the Astros, all the hitters, were in on that, or do you think it was a select like the few guys? Because I'm thinking, if a guy from AAA comes up and it's his first time in the league, do you trust him with that kind of information? Like, hey, we're friggin' cheating and we could get in a lot of trouble for this. So I've always wondered how widespread that was, and none of us know, but I'm just curious your thoughts.
And going back to what I was saying about my position when I was in the big leagues, like after every game, I'm worried about getting a tap on the shoulder. Those guys that are getting called up, even if they do find out, what are they going to snitch and like give someone an opportunity to send them down, like and change, like worsen their livelihood? I think that at that point, they're not the ringleaders. There are veterans that are kind of in charge of this. You just go along you're along for the ride. I mean, you're guilty by association right from the get. I mean, there's a lot of guys who don't like throughout my career in the game, like there are pitchers that they're tipping pitches. Like there are guys that sit in the dugout, whether it's how he's holding his glove, what he's got a tick, like they know periodically the dugout knows what pitchers are coming. It's about 50-50 whether the hitters, whether they want it or not, whether they want to know what's coming or not. Because some guys are like, oh yeah, give me every advantage I can. Other guys are like, well, I don't know. I'm not sure that what you're giving me is the right pitch anyway. So I would say normally when you have somebody's pitches, 50% of the hitters want it. But in that case, when it's not really guessing when you're looking at a video feed. So I would say it's probably more likely that guys are confident in what they're getting is the right pitch. So I would say it's probably more likely that more people are using it, but I have no idea.
Wow, that's interesting.
Gotcha. For sure.
That's really interesting.
My last question. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say my last question for you, Andrew, is: do you like whiskey? Bourbon.
I do very much.
Oh,
I do very much. I love it.
We got a bottle of whiskey for you to thank you for coming on the show. I'm not going to mention the dates that you're in Austin just for your own privacy, but the dates that you are in Austin that you mentioned to me, there's going to be a bottle waiting for you at Still Austin if you want to go in. They're one of our sponsors. They take good care of us and take good care of our guests. So hopefully you enjoy some Still Austin whiskey.
Beautiful. I'll definitely stop in and pick that up.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, guys.
Me and a friend went through a bottle of that quickly a couple weeks ago.
It goes down smooth, right?
A couple weeks ago. Yeah, we had a little dad day. I was trying to coax him to come over and help me do some dad shit at the house, but it was a little Still Austin, man. It worked, but shit, by about the fourth drink, we wasn't interested in cleaning anymore. I can tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Andrew, this is super fun, man. This is such an interesting interview. One of the best interviews we've done, I think, so far. It's so interesting to get the perspective of a Major League Baseball player. To follow him, go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter. His name is _Carignan 38. And all kinds of, I was going through his Twitter this morning, man. Super interesting guy, very intelligent. He doesn't just talk about sports either, which is cool too, man. So give him a follow. Andrew, thanks for coming on the show, brother. This was super fun.
Hey guys, really appreciate having me. I had a lot of fun too. It's nice to reminisce, and now that I'm in my second life past baseball.
Yeah. Good luck on the on fatherhood and everything, man. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be a awesome challenge, but it's so rewarding, man. It's one that's like the best thing that's ever happened to me by far.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Awesome, brother. Well, good luck to you, man. We'll talk to you soon, brother. This is a super interesting episode, man. It's great to talk to Andrew. What we were talking about, you saw like the hurt in his eyes, man, when he was talking about not being able to play the game anymore and like how that still stings a little bit. And I'm sure there's a lot of athletes that go through that. And then trying to find yourself outside of being a professional athlete. That's all you knew. That's all you wanted to do for however many years, you know, from being a child up until your adult life. That's all you thought about. That's all you wanted to do. And then you get to that moment, it's pure euphoria, but then it gets taken from you. And not because you weren't good enough, but because you couldn't stay healthy. You had some unfortunate setbacks in your career with injuries and everything like that. So it was awesome to hear from a guy that lived that, you know? Yeah, for sure, man. And being through a lot with those injuries. And just like he said, the day-to-day grind of the league and the mental aspect. I like how he talked about how, you know, you could get a tap on the shoulder after the game and knowing that cloud is hanging over your head, knowing that your UCL could blow out at any moment when you're pitching. That's a lot. Yeah, that's it is, a lot, man. It's awesome to be able to get to talk to these guys and get an insider perspective because it's something that I've always been curious of. We get to ask some questions about, you know, like the brush back and then the heckling, getting hitting a batter and stuff like that. Yep. Something I've always wondered because you never see the pitchers don't ever give a shit. It seems like they're it's like, true, hey man, maybe don't stand so close to the plate next time. You know, hey, I bet you'll think twice about crowding the plate, asshole. You know? And I've always wondered about the preparation that they get, the resources at the major league level with you know the tape and that sort of stuff. So that was interesting. He said, you know, it was 10 years old, but it was interesting just to see what kind of resources major league pitchers get to prepare. Yeah, exactly, man. And all that stuff is handed to you as well. It's not like you have to go searching for it yourself and everything like that. You're like watching old clips or having to you know, record games and stuff like that. It's interesting, man. I'm telling you, you gotta get up some baseball. I don't know how big of a baseball fan you are, but dude, it's a great year. This is a great year. I was talking to my dad on the phone the other night, and I was watching some baseball, and he was kind of like, "Oh, the playoffs are on." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, but it's baseball. I'm kind of really into baseball right now. It's just great speed of the game, man, and they haven't changed shit in such a long time." I'll say this, despite what Andrew said, I'm actually a fan of starting a runner on second base in extra innings, man. No kidding. I actually do like it because I feel like it adds a little bit of excitement to it. I can understand, especially coming from a pitcher, why he wouldn't like it. I totally get that, and I respect his opinion. You know, he's obviously played in the game. I haven't, but as a fan, I will say that I actually do like that rule, you know, starting a runner on second. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not saying I don't think there should be a pitch count, But I think we do got to do something about these batters, like readjusting their gloves. And, I understand you got to get signs and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? But these guys are like undoing their gloves every time. It's like, dude, you didn't even swing at the pitch. You don't need to do that, So, but I think baseball is just fine. It's always probably going to be the redhead stepchild of the 4 major league sports or the 4 major sports, that and hockey and everything like that, probably hockey more so. But, I love baseball, and this is a great time to watch baseball.
Yeah, man. I like those long extra inning games.
Yeah.
Is anybody really bored in the 17th inning? I'm on the edge of my seat, honestly, because it seems like every pitch matters. And so I don't think it's necessary to speed it up and put a guy on second base. I love extra inning games, man, for sure.
I will say, like, as a dad, I'm like, I can't handle that shit. You know what I'm saying? I just can't do it. But I don't expect them to change the entire game just because I had a kid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like, whatever. I still enjoy it. I'll find out the next day, but that's what I'm gonna do right after this. We finish this show, man. I'm about to go and watch some baseball, chill out, get a little food in me, hang out.
Sir.
You know what I'm saying? So
since this was our first baseball show, I'll tell you a story real quick.
Okay.
I'm in Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium.
Oh shit!
And I'm watching a playoff game. Red Sox, Yankees. I've got on a Yankees Suck hat.
Oh shit! And
a Red Sox jersey in Yankee Stadium, right? And this was. Do you remember the Tim Wakefield?
Yeah, of course. Knuckleballer,
right? The knuckleballer, the Game 7. Right? Yeah. This was the game before that to send it to that epic Game 7 where the Aaron Boone home run 2003.
Okay.
So the year before the Red Sox epic.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And the game before the Aaron Boone home run. Mm-hmm. So I'm in Yankee Stadium. The Red Sox won that game to force a Game 7. They really had no interest. No, they shouldn't have won the game based on the pitching matchups.
Yeah.
And I respect my life. I don't want to die in Yankee Stadium. So I wasn't like...
you wore a Yankees Suck hat. Well, you're like, not that much. I respect my life, but only to a certain degree. I'm willing to take a beating. I just don't want to get murdered. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say Joe Torre sucked. I said, Yankees suck.
Verbally.
Yeah.
Verbally, I was fairly respectful. Yeah. I will, like, when the Red Sox scored, I wasn't turning around like, what now? Like you see at stadiums sometimes, right? But of course I would celebrate when the Red Sox scored. It
like that dude, that's always hilarious when that person does that. Like they had something to do with it. It's like, dude, you're half drunk in the 50th row. You had nothing to do.
Exactly.
Did you hit the single, Tommy? Was that you? Did you hit that single, Tommy? Holy shit, what a catch out in center field. Tommy, wow. You should be playing. What the hell are you doing in here eating fucking cashews and shit? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Jesus. Yeah, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's hilarious. It's all good. Yeah. So as the Red Sox would score, I'd do my like, yes. Yeah. But again, I don't want to be like too much of an ass. It's a quiet stadium when the Red Sox score. Yeah, so I'm just pumping my fist, So surprisingly, that's not when they threw things at me.
Oh shit.
Believe it or not. And when they threw things at me, it was like peanut shells wrapped in like paper towels and napkins and shit. And it hit the back of my head. And then you turn around and nobody's looking at you. Yeah, and you can't be like, who was that? What are the 20,000? You just gotta kind of have to take it after a while, right? But what surprised me is they would throw things at me after the Yankees scored. And I'm depressed. Shit. And I'm hanging my head and I'm just like, oh, ding. Ding. Damn. And then you're just like at your lowest moment.
Yeah. Just pelted and shit. God damn. What was it like when y'all won though? Was you like throwing some shit
walking
back?
Out of that stadium? I'm not gonna lie. I was emotionally on cloud high. Yeah. There may have been some substances involved.
Yeah.
But as I was excited, get out of here. As I was excited walking out of the stadium, there was also like I just robbed a bank.
Oh, yeah.
We better get the hell out of here because I'm still wearing my Red Sox gear and some of these guys are a lot more drunk than I am right now. And I'm slightly fearful for my life, so let's hurry up and get to the car. Yeah. But it was quiet, bro. It was like,
I'm sure.
Ooh, yeah.
You should just turn around and start pissing on everybody and just like, bitch now. Throw some fucking cashews now, bitch. Who's getting pissed on? Check them. Hope you can wash those Nikes, Sarah, because I just pissed all over them. Those things are gonna smell tomorrow, Sarah. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Especially when you get on that hot ass subway, smelling like shit. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's hilarious, man.
But yeah, that's my favorite and only Yankee Stadium story.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I would abstain from that, man. Dude, when I was a kid, so I was a Michigan fan growing up in Ohio, and so of course people talk shit, but a lot when I was younger, Michigan dominated that series, and we were kicking their ass every single year. But I remember going to the 1996 Michigan-Ohio State game. It was in Ohio State. It was in Columbus. And My dad surprised me with tickets the night before the game. I didn't know we were gonna go, and he surprised me. And I remember he gave me a black and white big Nike jacket, like a coat, and he was like, "You gonna wear this tomorrow when we go to the game?" And I was like, "What? Oh shit!" And I was like, "Why can't I wear Michigan stuff?" And he's like, "Because those fans are insane down there. You can't wear Michigan shit around them, where they'll go ape shit."
Trying to protect you.
Yeah, dude. And so I think I was 12 years old at the time. It was 96, so yeah, I was like 12 years old. And we're like walking down State Street or whatever the hell, street it is, going to the stadium. And I didn't even have Michigan gear on. I had a Michigan sweatshirt underneath my jacket, but I was zipped up. And these dudes just start pelting. The 12-year-old kid start throwing Buckeyes at me and shit. You know what I'm saying? And Buckeyes are very it's like a big rock, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like a 50-cent piece rock and shit.
I'm laughing and you're not, because you lived it.
I lived it. I was just like,
Chad needs therapy after getting rocks thrown at him at the stadium.
Seriously, dude. Yeah, I still think about that shit. But we ended up winning. Ty Streets, I think the score was 13-9 or 14-9. Ty Streets on the slant in the second half. I think was that from Scott Dreisbach? It might have been Brian Greasy.
Future 49er Ty Streets.
Ty Streets, yeah. One of my, I liked him a lot, back then. Number 86 at Michigan. We had a good time. My dad and I, we were trying to get in. My dad would always get press passes and stuff, but this was not his turf. This was at Ohio State and everything like that. So we went up to one of the ushers. We were so close to getting in. My dad was like, "Oh yeah, I know the sports information director from Michigan and stuff," and he was like, "Oh, we've got a press pass, but I think it's up in the press box or something." Made some shit up, And the guy's like, "Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have someone go check on it." And so we were waiting for this guy. This was back in the day when they didn't have they weren't able to just radio up to the press box. The guy had to go physically up there and check to make sure. And we were waiting on him to come back, and the usher said to us, he's like, "If he's not back in 2 minutes, I'm just gonna let y'all go in." And we were like, "Oh shit, hell yeah!" Right when he's getting ready to let us go in, here comes this guy. He's like, "Oh, he doesn't have a press pass and shit." We're like, "Fuck,
damn."
So, but it was actually a very memorable experience because my dad and I ended up going to a mall or in the area and went into their TV set. Because dude, this is, we were listening to the game on the radio, but we didn't have telephones that we could watch games on and shit. So we went to a mall, we went to their TV section and just posted up in a Sears and just watched the game from their TVs and everything like that. It was hilarious. Yeah, dude. And then after we won, we were walking around the mall high-fiving, all giddy and shit like that. And everyone in the Ohio State gear just all depressed and stuff.
Dude, that's why I love sports. I mean, that story, you can tell it's a clear memory of yours. You'll probably have that memory forever.
For the rest of my life.
Sports bond people and provide those types of family moments. It's awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. Some of my favorite memories in life are, watching games with my dad or going to games with my dad and stuff like that. Yeah. Awesome thing. I can't wait to do it with my son, man. It's going to be the shit. Michigan's playing UT in 3 or 4 years. My son's going to be 4.5 years old. Oh, we're totally going to that. Nice. 50-yard line tickets. As soon as them bitches go on sale, I'm buying them.
Nice.
I don't know if he'll be able to sit through the whole game, but we're at least going to try. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. Go ahead and try to throw things at a 4-year-old.
Yeah. I'll beat some ass. Yeah, someone will be getting their ass beat. I can tell you that right now. Yeah, I'm gonna bring some brass knuckles just in case. I'm getting their ass beat on fucking on West Campus this weekend. You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna take a quick second to tell you about Oddsshark. Oddsshark is your source for the latest odds from leading authorities, expert editorial content, and detailed matchup picks. Looking for statistics and trends for an upcoming game? Oddsshark has that too, and it's absolutely free.
That's right, Chad. In-depth expert analysis, stats, numbers, and trends to help you make the sharp game day picks. So whether you want to check out tonight's odds, this weekend's odds, or maybe that boxing odds that we talked about earlier in the show, anything in between there, head on over to Oddsshark and start thinking like a shark today.
Yeah, and that's ODDSSHARK.com. Go-to resource if you're going to be betting. That's what I was thinking about this on the way over here, man. I was listening to our last episode in the Oddsshark promo and everything, and I was thinking, the only thing better in sports is betting on sports, man. You get a little money, and that's the thing is a lot of people might think you got to throw down $50 or $100 or $250. You don't have to do that, man. A lot of times, man, if I'm just chilling at the crib and I don't have anything to do and I'm just a little bored, throw down $10, $15. If you lose it, it's not going to be a big deal. You win it makes the game a little bit more exciting, Get some pops in you, start throwing furniture, you know what I'm saying? Just get juiced up.
More states are legalizing it too, which is exciting as well. So
so if you're going to place a bet, go over to Oddsshark.com. Check out all the odds. You want to get some information. I was reading their boxing analysis on this Fury and Wilder fight. Had a great little article on there. discussing that. And if you don't know that much about sports betting and you want to get some more information, Oddsshark has a breakdown of all the nomenclature, all the words, all the things, all the ways you can bet, parlays, hedging, all this kind of stuff. And so it's a great resource if you're just getting into it, or if you're a seasoned bettor and you want to find the best odds that you possibly can for an upcoming game, you want to go to Oddsshark so you can compare, get the best deal that you possibly can.
No doubt about it. We're obsessed with Oddsshark.
Dude, I love that's my shit. I've got a tab on my computer at all times open. When I'm watching games, I'll go on there and check it out too. Games tonight, I'll check it out and see what some of the odds are for this baseball game. Might throw a little bit of money down on the Cleveland Indians. Who knows?
Ooh,
we'll see. Yeah, I do. I'm definitely betting the under. I can tell you that. We have the worst offense and the worst offenses in Major League. But awesome interview, awesome time talking to Andrew. Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter. Also follow us on all the social media. All of our social media is at DNP-CD Sports, and it's probably on your screen right about now. Give us a follow. Give us a review. Please review the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Tell your friends about the show. Please share, like, all that other shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thumbs up on YouTube, all those things.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. We'll be back next week, dude.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
So for Tony Farmer, I'm Chad Fisher. This is a DNP-CD Sports podcast presented by Oddsshark. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home on the web at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.